What's up, everybody? Of course, I'm Elliot Connie, and welcome to today's edition of Solutions Every Day. Today's a cool day. Like, we're celebrating the Independence Day here in America. Like, this is the observed holiday. Actual Independence Day, July 4th, was yesterday, but today's the day that we're observing it. And this is freedom means something, I think. And as an African American, I just want to acknowledge how important freedom is. And I hope that we can have a country where all people can experience freedom in this country. And I just think that's important. So anyway, enough about that. So let's talk about solution-focused brief therapy and something really cool, really important, which is how do you talk about the problem in solution-focused brief therapy. So let me tell you why I wanted to use today as a day to share this topic. So earlier today, I was talking to a group of students from a university, doctoral level students that wanted to ask me a few questions to get clear on some solution-focused stuff to help them with their degree and their research and all the things that they're doing. And they're amazing students. All of these students happen to be young women, so shout out to these young women. They're amazing. They're doing great things, and I'm honored and happy to be able to help them. And one of the things that came up was how oftentimes when people begin learning solution-focused brief therapy, they think that it's kind of like a client-led approach where you're not allowed to talk about the problem. And I was thinking that that's ridiculous. Like, in solution-focused brief therapy is client outcome-led, but you're absolutely allowed to talk about the problem. In fact, to have any approach where you're not talking about the problem would be completely dismissive and disrespectful of the client, which is why I think one of the common misconceptions or the common critiques of solution-focused brief therapy is people say, I think it's dismissive of the client. Well, if you're doing solution-focused brief therapy well, then it is not dismissive of the client. And let me give you an example to tell you what I mean. If a client walks into your office or in this case, if they join you in Zoom, and they say, I have a real bad problem, I need to tell you about it. There's this idea that if I listen to this real bad problem that the client has now told me they want me to hear, I'm no longer doing solution-focused brief therapy. Like, I'm not being solution-focused. And that doesn't make any sense. Like, those of you watching this, have you heard anything like that? Just like say something in the comment section or something. Just let me know that this makes sense to you. That if a client says, like, I need to tell you about my horrible childhood or my big drug addiction or my awful parents or whatever it might be, if I listen to those things, I'm not doing solution-focused brief therapy well. I'm not practicing solution-focused. I'm not being solution-focused. That's actually not true. So I want to say something really important here to help you guys kind of get what we're doing in solution-focused brief therapy and the way the problem is managed. Now, it is not uncommon that someone tells you, I need to tell you about my trauma, my past, my history, my problem, my symptoms, my whatever. That sound anti-solution focused, but let me explain how they're not. And I'm going to say something really important that I want you guys to remember. The tragedy story and the hero story are the exact same story. It just depends on how you listen. So when someone says, I need to tell you about my pain, trauma, struggles, and symptoms, then you need to hear it. But you have to listen for the hero in the story. So when someone says, I had a dad who did these horrible things and a mom who did these horrible things and, I had these awful things happen to me and then this awful thing happened to me, you should be thinking, so coming out of those struggles, how have you been able to become the person you are today? And find evidences of their successes today in spite of their struggles. Now, sometimes those successes are like huge. Like, for example, if I tell you that I had a really difficult childhood that was filled with lots of pain, trauma, and abuse at the hands of my father, if you were able to say, wow, Elliot, then how did you become someone who writes books and got degrees? Because there are some things that are evidences of people's successes that are quite clear and quite obvious, but some are less so. Like, some people had really, really difficult childhoods and really difficult experiences where, like, the evidence of their success is they, like, got out of the 7th grade. So you have to be able to ask them, like, wow, how did you go through all of that and make it out of the 7th grade? You know what I'm saying? So it's up to you to listen with a very specific ear to the hero in the trauma story, because the tragedy story and the trauma story and the hero story are the exact same story. It just depends on how you listen. So our responsibility as solution-focused therapists isn't to shut down the client's desire to express the problems and the nature of the problems that they're experiencing in their lives. Our responsibility as solution-focused brief therapists is to listen with a very specific ear to the hero in the trauma story. And if you can train yourself to hear heroes whenever you hear tragedy, now you're doing solution-focused brief therapy at a really high level. So anyway, how was this? You guys, what'd you think of this video? Does this make sense? Does this make it clear? Because I know a lot of people out there think that if I'm talking to a client, I'm doing solution focused, it's my job to like focus on solutions and not allow the problem into the conversation. And solution focused brief therapy is not about not allowing the client or the problem into the conversation. It's about inviting the hero into the conversation. And quite frankly, in order for me to bring the hero into the conversation, I have to hear the problem, because there's no way of knowing what the hero overcame unless I hear the problems or obstacles in the hero's past. There's no way for me to be impressed by the hero unless I can hear what the hero has accomplished over time and what the hero has overcome to get to the great heights of where they are now. And even if, whether those great heights are like, that hero became a doctor and they changed the world, or that hero graduated from the 6th grade when other people wouldn't have made it so far. But that's how the problem is relevant and matters even in a solution-focused conversation. So thank you guys for watching this video. Please, please, please like this video. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my Facebook channel. Definitely head on over to my YouTube channel. If you're watching this video on my Facebook, head on over to my YouTube channel, hit subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified when I post videos. I post videos really commonly. Head on over to my Instagram. I really love when I can have followers and engage with my content. You guys are awesome. Thank you much for watching this video. So please like, subscribe, and share. Head on over to my Instagram and sign up and follow me, and head on over to my YouTube and subscribe there, because I always post content there if you're watching this video in any other place. I love you guys so much, and I look forward to seeing you super duper soon.